It is, and it's of course, this is what Obama has done through his entire campaign. If you dared to criticize him, you would be labeled not by him directly, but by his minions, his myrmidons, his Axelrods and Favreaus and Ploufs, and these people. And now we've got the White House websites. We've got Organizing for America. We've got Fight the Smears. We've got the Flag website. We've got the Reality Check website. We've got a proliferation of websites. Soon we'll have as many websites as czars. This is I would call this ideological terrorism. That's already terrorism. And of course, the door to false flag wide open with Obama now in difficulty. And remember, we're approaching the 9/11 point in Obama's first term. We are now where we were with Bush back in August of 2001. As a matter of fact, the anniversary of the bin Laden determined to strike in U.S. CIA briefing was just a couple of days ago. So we are now in that geometry. So people who are looking at drills should continue to look.
Well, that's the other issue, is they have the 9-month rule to have to stage some terror. So we're entering that quadrant the next 2 months, starting now. And I'm having my YouTube video shut down, and YouTube says that the Hive says they're racist. So I may not be on air much longer. They're saying they're on there saying I should be taken off the radio as well. I mean, they're 1 inch away from coming and arresting me. We had several videos that were chain reactioning Saturday. One of them got 130,000 views in just an hour and a half. So they took it off the main page. The others they just erased. And they said criticism of Obama is now racism. And they commented and bragged, and YouTube said, yes, when the commissariat, when the political police or the Gestapo or the SA, that's more akin to them, the thugs in the streets say you're bad, we don't even look, you go down. This is official. It's in the article. But let's go to calls right now. We'll get into that later. Who's up next here, John? Chris in Maryland, you're on the air with Webster Tarpley. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, Alex? How you doing?
Good. Worldwide broadcast. Go ahead.
Yeah, one quick question. Can you post some of these documents like, this is the quick question before I give my question here, about these documents like the SARS statements and Obama's health care plan?
The SARS statements.
Yeah, well, you know, like these things that the SAR says that if, whatever you said earlier about the SAR making the statement that anything said against Obama would be, you know, likened as, you know, anti-Obama racism.
We broke the news a week and a half ago because a listener sent us, said, look, the White House has announced, report on anybody criticizing Obama, report this to authorities and report it to us. And now they've got them out doing this. And then we've linked to the different bills. We've linked to Tom Daschle's quotes, who helped write it. I mean, go read it. I mean, we've posted a whole bunch of articles that then have links to the subsections. We have an article right now about CPS visiting all parents' homes. You can go read the bill. Or like when they had national compulsory service in the bill, it said national compulsory service, people couldn't believe it, in another bill. Or how people couldn't believe that he wanted national service even when he gave speeches and his chief of staff gave speeches. And those are in the Obama deception. People didn't believe me that Obama was the key person getting the votes for the banker bailout. But we have Nancy Pelosi bragging and Obama bragging and him on the Senate floor saying you've got to pass this. Webster, do you want to tell him about the health care bill, about the rationing and all this?
Well, the bill itself, I think it does not spell a lot of these things out. I would just note that some of the things that are most dangerous were already passed in the stimulus. In particular, there was $2 billion in the stimulus for something called National Coordinator for Health Information Technology at the National Institutes of Health. I take it here in Bethesda. So National Coordinator for Health Information Technology. You have to realize that the people who are going to staff these boards are Malthusians, right, in the same way that Holdren is, and they believe in population reduction.
Obama's brother is involved in it, and he says no health care for old people. Well, I mean, Webster, what are you saying? I mean, I've scanned over the bill. I actually have a rundown here with the pages, and I've checked it. This is so nightmarish, I can't even describe it. You're saying there's stuff...
I'm trying to say that some of these boards that are neutral, that don't spell out what they're going to do. I'll give you an example.
It says the boards will decide, and then people have gone and looked at who's on the boards, and they're all making eugenics statements.
Yes, precisely. There's one called MedPAC on steroids. MedPAC is something that's been around for a while. It has generally been blocked by Congress. So MedPAC on steroids means essentially the death panel, right? What people call the death panel would be MedPAC on steroids. And this would be a bureaucracy similar to the British one that denies you care, saying the calculation is if you're 75 years old and overweight and you smoke, then you're of no value to society.
And
you
there's
go on
no
the human
doubt,
junk heap,
and there's no
die.
doubt these bioethics boards are set up for that. But you hear them on the news with the code words. They say, well, there are too many, useless tests, and then they won't even do the test on your heart to tell you you've got the blockage. I mean, people say we're lying about England. England admittedly rations care massively.
Certainly. I also think you've got to look at the people. See, part of the stuff is who's going to be carrying this out. I mean, you look at Obama, you look at the fact he was asked, my mother is 75 years old and she wants to live. This was back in June. She wants to live. So his answer to that was, we can't make public policy based on subjectivity, meaning the fact that you want to live is of no consequence to me, and therefore...
Well, he said he didn't know if he should keep his grandmother alive.
Precisely. He's got stories about that. And then this is the famous, if the operation is not suitable, maybe just a pill will be good. Now, that means essentially you'll be put into a hospice and given pain pills, and you will die there. I think it's extremely sinister. The other story, of course, about his mother is that he had an ethical crisis because she had a hip replacement operation during the time she was battling cancer, and he thought that this was of dubious ethical virtue. This is the same man who has shoveled $24 trillion across the room into the hands of these zombie bankers, derivatives artists, and hedge fund hyenas.
Let me ask the caller, does that answer your question, Chris?
That question, yeah, but I wanted to get into one quick thing and let you get on to the other callers. About forced inoculations. I work at Walter Reed, and we had a memo come down from command stating that we had to get forced inoculations.
Stay there.